live from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. This is your motivational, sensational, inspirational, educational, keenly awaited, highly anticipated edition of the Afternoon Swing Trading Floor with your humble host, Jeremy Alexander Newsom, with another daily dose of mentally delicious brain food, reminding each of you to love life, live life, and trade it. My boy DJ's in the building, says, woo! Hope you got a chance to contact Blake Anderson. Maybe you can hang out with him while he's here. That'd be sweet. Catherine says, TGIF, pretty much. Yes, you know it. I hope everyone's doing fantastic. It's been a good Friday. A lot of things to talk about. And at the same time, not a lot of things to talk about. We got exactly 58 minutes, so let's churn and burn. It's going to be a quick class. Get your questions in. Type as fast as your fingers will carry you. Tons of things to talk about. Bottom line, we have not closed below 273.88 yet, but we're getting close. What is very interesting is we have an inside day candle, which really means that today we did everything and yet we did nothing at the same time. So could this turn into some type of double bottom? Absolutely. Will it turn into a double bottom? We'll find out next week. And the 50 is going to be here. This is a key level. We could easily bounce. It's just going to be all about, will it happen? And again, if we close below 273.38, I'm going to be doing a lot more option selling. We'll still be focusing on day trades. I'll be toning back swing trades because we had really, really good run on swing trades through here. And really just this last 6 days, it's been kind of rough for swing trades because there's been a lot of gaps, no real trend. One day we're down, next day we're down, next day we're down, next day we're up, next day we're down, next day we're up. So there's a lot of just kind of back and forth, and which is good, right? For day trading. Day trading is fantastic. Day trading, in my opinion, is always the way to go. But I do think we're going to range most of the year. What's up, Mr. Mayfield? Good to see you, buddy. So the weekly chart, yeah, I think especially if we close below 273.88, we're going to have a little bit of a choppy year. But this is an evening star reversal on the weekly, so no doubt about it. Nice evening star. That's why this level is really important. Personally, I think we bounce off of here, and I don't think we close. I think we bounce and we keep going higher. We will find out. Time will tell. So that's the SPY. Here's the Qs, and the Qs are very interesting today. And pretty much what we got is a little bit of a bearish candle, a little bit of a lower low, lower high, a little bit of a wick, but it still looks okay. Not a crazy amount of volume, nothing too serendipitously bearish. If we close below here, which is that particular price is about 173.45. We close below there, yeah, we might make it down to the 50, pull back a little bit farther. But it'll be interesting to see precisely what this double top, if it turns into a double top. Maybe it turns into a support, we bounce off here. That's why I said close. A close will be crucial. That'll determine what happens because I think we're just going to get a lot of wicks. Now, for my option fans, you're going to have a really good time with put sales over the next few days, I feel like. You'll be able to find some opportunities and find some setups. So we will see, but we'll figure that out when we get there. Here's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And the Dow Jones is kind of back to a range-bound type of movement. You're smack dab in the 100 and the 200. The cool thing is we could even begin to start considering some iron condors. For my options fans, you know what those are. And if you have no idea what iron condors are, it's okay. I can teach you. But it just kind of comes down to what's going to be happening and, making a move that way. Marilyn says, is this swing trading versus day trading decision due to the difficulty shorting stocks? Nope. It just is just if a market is doing this and doing a lot of this, it just makes general swing trades a little bit difficult. That's pretty much it. When it's doing this, swing trades are easy. So we're going sideways, and in sideways markets, you have to plan accordingly. You have to get a lot shorter time frame, in and out, quicker moves on the hourly charts, take your profits. At some point, a breakout will happen, but until it happens, just in and out, quick gains. And again, a lot of sideways option selling. John says, so sideways markets, you do iron condors more often. Of course, that is the time to do them. A lot of non-directional strategies. Exactly. You got it. And here's the IWM, which is the Russell 2000. And the Russell, we're just retesting. As we talked about this week, a good amount of volume. Is this the highest that the market ever gets on the Russell? No, I do not think so. We've only had 2 bearish days on the Russell. Again, I'm just looking for something like this. The hardest part about trading, my friends, is usually time and usually being patient. Patience is going to be the key. That's the hardest part in trading. So one more, and here's the FAS. This is the financial ETF. So here's the FAS, and since today is Finance Friday, we've been looking at this one for the last 2 or 3 days. If some of you remember, and said, hey, I want to close above 67.96. That still kind of stands. You'll notice that the 100 and 200, I mean, this is really intriguing. We are getting right in. I mean, this is like the pressure is building. This is getting exciting. So, I mean, we've been going more or less. I mean, even though it's been terrible choppy, the compression is happening on the financials, on the FAS. I very rarely look at Bollinger Bands, but I'll pull up Bollinger Bands and come over here to a weekly chart. And the reason I'm looking at a weekly is just because we've been trading sideways for so long. And we're not getting, the bands are starting to come in, which is interesting, but no real squeeze, at least not yet. And on the daily chart, nothing really. So it's just those long terms, very interesting patterns. So I would have to say if we close below that price, then it's just going to be a potential breakout. We close below here, I'll be more bearish than bullish. So end of day close, short term, more bearish than bullish. Granny Hale says, why rarely Bollinger Bands? Because I can look at the stock and already know what the bands are doing. Bands rarely tell me something I don't already know. End of day, I think I can leave that there. Yep. So I just wanted to see if it wasn't a Bollinger Band squeeze. And since it's not, I didn't think it was. Sometimes they surprise me, but that's the FAS. Very interesting pattern. A close above or below, and I think we're going to have a really good idea and a determination of what's going to be happening from here. Let's dive in. I got a plane to catch in 2.5 hours. Marilyn says, this is coiling. You got it. You're absolutely correct. Pressure is building. PS, this is a new IPO, Pluralsight. And I'm not in this trade, but there is a trader or two who is in. And obviously you can see we don't have a lot of data on this one. And those traders who bought in, they bought the bounce. Now, what you can take away from in my thought process, this particular pattern looks a little bit like what BABA did the last 2 or 3 days. Now, we did get stopped out of the BABA swing trade. The good news about that, if there is a silver lining, is I got 2 emails from people who are actually thanking me. They said, Jeremy, thank you so much. Even though we did lose on the trade, I was excited because I was never able to predetermine how much money I was going to lose on an option trade before. That's what at least 2 people said. And I thought that was a really great viewpoint. So realistically, BABA, even though we did lose on BABA, this one very well could come into the 50 and then bounce, which is probably what it's going to do. So we got stopped out on BABA, but we did lose less than we did mathematically mitigate our risk and know what our risk was. But the reason I'm bringing this up is if, look at this candle pattern here, white candle off the 20, a little bit of a hammer, that had a gap up. I'm just simply saying if Pluralsight has the exact same pattern that BABA had, let's just play it accordingly. So PS, right, a lot of identical things there. So I'm not saying it will happen, but if you do get a gap down and it starts filling the gap, it could trade back down to here. And if it comes back down to here, you know, after 2 to 3 days, you can look to buy it and then set a stop down there. Will that trade work? Who knows? But there is someone somewhere in the world planning that exact trade. Now, what if it continues higher? That's also fine. It's a brand new IPO. And if you're playing this on the hourly chart, right? So if some of you have time frames on the hourly, it's above the 50. So yeah, if it pulls back into this support at about 25.08, you do have a bullish trend. It's a brand new stock. There's not a lot stopping it. Let's find out what happens. Next on the list, TLT. So TLT trading real sideways. Very sideways. I've done some credit spreads on TLT a few times. Here is the monthly chart. The reason I'm pulling up the monthly chart is just to show the long-term moving average. We did hit off the 100 on a monthly. I forgot. No, actually didn't forget. I did not get triggered into a spread down here. I wanted to. I had a limit sell open and just never got filled. So TLT is at a very interesting location because we are at the 100 on a monthly, which we've only interacted with really once. We've kind of gotten there twice. And I mean, now we're back there again. So we'll see. Marilyn says, isn't that a head and shoulders pattern? It is a head and shoulders pattern, but it has not closed below the neckline yet. So until it closes below here, not only does it have to close, but it also has to retest. So it has to do this, this, and then that. But even if that occurs, a lot of people think the head and shoulders pattern is just going to cause the trend to end and never begin again, when unfortunately that's just not true. It could trade right back down to 100 and then be back off to the races. That could be the only sell that it gets. But you are correct. It is a head and shoulders type of pattern on a monthly chart, which is a big deal. That's why 115 is a very, very key level. Had some people call me crazy going down at this support, going bullish, but my thought process was, well, until it doesn't bounce, it will. So what do we do now? There's no premium right now unless you got into an iron condor. And I'm not going to talk about iron condors in this class because I'll just confuse too many of you, unfortunately, even though it's a very great, very powerful strategy. For those who do know it, check out a bull put spread down here and a bear call spread up here sometime probably for August. Okay, next on the list is Ralph Lauren, ticker symbol RL, which I get asked a lot about my shirt. Is this a Ralph Lauren shirt? And my answer is no. By the way, who can see the candle in the middle? I pointed that out to somebody just yesterday. They had seen my shirt a million times and never noticed the candle. So just in case, now once you see it, you'll never be able to unsee it. Like the arrow in the FedEx logo. So Ralph Lauren. Wow, that's a very nice gap on Ralph Lauren. Pretty. This was a gap and go, and it sure did go for a few days at least. Looks like it's going to try to fill this gap a little bit. All I can say on Ralph Lauren, here's the weekly, is it's starting to recover. This was a very, very strong gap based on that location. You could almost, I could even make the argument that it's a massive inverted head and shoulders pattern. Boom, boom, boom. And this is the neckline. So with that gap out of here, I would love for it to trade back down and bounce. So Ralph Lauren, all I can say on this one is let's put it on the list for Merchant Monday, which is going to be, Monday, and we will look at it. So I'll put that RL. There we go. Next on the list is CWH, Camping World. And Camping World, this is one that we were looking at for a bullish swing trade. And I do like today's candle a lot. Today's candle tells me that it's either going to break out and continue higher when we can trade that bullish. So that would be a bullish stop limit. Or since you have a lower shadow today, if it takes out that lower shadow, we're going to go a little bit lower before we bounce. So in that instance, what I'll be doing is dropping this, and I will set up an entry here. And this is a limit buy. And then now that we're getting closer and closer to the setup on Camping World, I do like this retest. But again, since it did retest today, with the lower shadow. If it breaks that lower shadow, it's almost certainly going to fill that gap. So I have a limit buy there. And just in case it doesn't, if it trades sideways, we can take it bullish. So Camping World, we're also going to put on the list for Merchant Monday. By the way, is everyone familiar now about how to join real life trading if you want to? Does everyone get it? All the deals? Everyone has any questions? If you have any questions, just email me. I'll be doing some emails on the plane, Jerremy@reallifetrading.com. I would love to be with you next week. I know, John, you mentioned to me that you're going to be here later. I get it. Marilyn says, I want to ask about the swing trading membership. Then just send me an email. New links will be sent out over the weekend. Brent's already in, so he is signed, sealed, and delivered. And I've already given him some videos to check out. So, yeah, all the new links will be sent over the weekends. We'll be working on that, and you'll definitely get them before Monday. Yeah. All right. Make sure to check your emails, Ram, for over the weekends. Keep tabs of that. And, yep. So the good news is once those links are sent out, they are your links, until you either pause your subscription or travel or cancel or whatever, continue. There will be those links until the next free week, which is in 2019. BlackBerry, ticker symbol BB, getting wrecked. Oh, man. I didn't see BlackBerry all day today. Where was I? I wouldn't have gotten a chance to catch this one anyway. It happened too fast. Down 8%. Bitcoin's down 8% today too. Man, BlackBerry getting shredded. Also looks like a head and shoulders pattern. One of the stocks I'm always bearish on, BlackBerry. I did take it bullish over here. And what happens? Got stopped out. And I laughed. I was like, you BlackBerry. And now I'm sitting over here like, yeah, I thought so. Still shocked how BlackBerry's in business. I don't know the answer to that question, but something like this is possible. Long-term moving averages on BlackBerry. I think we're above them. We are. Okay. So we are above them. I might play this one short at some point, but that's a really good breakdown. I'll put it on the list for Tech Giant Tuesday. Tech Giant Tuesday. We'll look at BlackBerry. And again, that is next week. Hopefully a lot of you join me and everyone else in the room next week. BILI, Billy. So we were talking about this one just the other day. This is a newer IPO as well. And the limit buy that I had set up for some of you was 1515 by 1181. Well, obviously didn't quite get to 1515. So what I now have to do is set up a new plan. And I want to wait one day to see what it's going to do. Even though it is at a good spot and it could easily bounce here. I like this candle pattern right there. I really like that big bullish candle right there. It just didn't quite bounce off the 50. So what I don't want it to do is get in, trade down, and then do that. I would like to avoid that. So I will be able to figure out if I wait Monday, see what the next candle looks like and see what kind of pressure builds. If I can determine what the type of pressure that's building. So if we get like an inside day candle and then we break out, I think I would like that even more. So what I'm going to do is put Billy on the list on Monday, and we'll come back to that one later. So Monday. Matthew says you won't enter intraday. Nope, I'm going to wait until the close of Monday, and then I'll come back and see what it's going to do. If it was off of the 50, you had a nice wick and a nice little hammer off the 50, yes. I would enter intraday, but right now, not good enough. Some of you got triggered into Carbon Black. Remember, I'm not in all these trades, folks. Just as a reiteration, there's no way I could be. Even if I had the money to be in all of them, I wouldn't be in all of them. So Carbon Black, there are some of you getting triggered on Carbon Black on this pullback. This pullback is very simple. Old resistance. Will it bounce? No idea. But it certainly felt good to sell there. And now see if personally, I think this is the short-term retest, and I think this is the long-term retest. So we'll see if it bounces out of here. Keep your eyes on carbon black. There are some traders who are in. Some traders are asking me via email, how do you select which stocks out of the ones I look at, which one that you should trade? In my opinion, my advice, the ones that you like, the ones you know of, you know what they are. So if I go through a stock, I'm like, man, this is a really cool trade. Look at this great setup. But you have no idea what company that is. You don't have to take that trade, right? That's a lot of the times the way I determine what stock I'll trade is if I like the company. Some of you know that I'm very eccentric. So I don't trade telecom. I don't trade car companies. I don't trade pharmaceuticals. Those are three sectors I just personally don't get into. I might actually start into trading Verizon because I did have a phone call with them, and they are leaps and bounds better than Sprint as far as when it comes to customer service. So I might start maybe trying to pick up 100 or 200 shares of Verizon just so they can pay for my cell phone bill. But much better than Sprint. Sprint sucks. Yeah. Yeah, they do. This is how I felt using Sprint. Hello? Hello? I can't hear you. Oh, that's right. This is a glass of water or my cell phone. I couldn't tell. If I had Sprint, I never knew if I was using the cell phone or just a glass of ice water. They work the exact same for making phone calls. Anyway, random. So carbon black, there are some who are in. We do have an article on carbon black. Let me see if I go into this trade setup tab and if I click on carbon black. Let me go to trade setups. I'm just going to type in CBLK and see if it comes up. Linderin says, you don't have time for a Sprint rant today. Dude, I always have time for a Sprint rant. I just want to type in CBLK to see if that comes up. No, it doesn't come up. All right, so if I type in carbon. What if I type in carbon? It should come up if I type in carbon. Yeah, carbon black IPO. So I'll put that in the chat pane just in case anybody wants to check that out. There you go. Anyway, all right, next stock is ADT. This is an interesting one I was looking at the other day. I do like this setup on ADT. Check this out. I'll show you. Here's a relative strength index indicator, and it does have a little bit of divergence. There's some divergence right there. And I forget why ADT just started over, but it does pay dividends. It's an $8 stock. So you got a little bit of divergence. You got a very cool little pattern. Looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. So you got a little bit of a correction here. This could be a stock that some smaller account traders could consider as well. I think a lot of people know how they make money. You can do a little bit of research on them if you want, but I think most people are familiar. I mostly just need to do a little bit more research on why they did their spinoff, but they are working on a cool app. I forget the name of it. My buddy David Webb was telling me about it in Houston, where parents, it's called like Drive Safe 360 or something, but they are a partner of this app, and it's pretty much an app where you can install it into your phone, and the app can tell the parents of the teenage drivers how fast the car is going, where it's going, if they accelerated quickly, if they braked quickly, if they were using their phone while driving. It's a very interesting technology. And obviously I didn't hear anything about it until David told me about it. And did some research. I was like, that's a really cool idea. You know, who owns that company? And this, I believe ADT Incorporation owns part of them. So something to consider. Life 360, that's the one. Thank you, Ram. Life 360. Now, I don't have any teenage kids. I'm still a teenage kid myself, but it's always a bad idea when the fan is on. That's happened a few times. But yes, I'm very thankful that my parents did not have that when I was a teen. Especially you, Brenda. That would have been bad news. Bad news. So anyway, that's 80 and ADT. I do like it. That 100 is going to be a little bit of a resistance, but a break above this level should be really nice. The good solid place to get into would have been right here with a stop, probably right about there. That would have been the place to get in, but I'm not in that position. An interesting one to think about, something to consider. Goldman Sachs. There's a lot of chat about Goldman Sachs today on Slack. And what's most interesting about Goldman Sachs is it's at the 100 on the weekly. So 100 on the weekly. I love it, Cheryl. Honestly, I mean, you've got to watch Goldman Sachs to bounce down here. You got to keep an eye on it. I know it feels uncomfortable. Usually the best times to be buying. I mean, you got a good support, a possible inverted head and shoulders pattern. So if you start seeing some semblance of a bullish move on Monday and or Tuesday, I mean, the risk reward down here is good. Not saying you have to take the trade, not saying you should, just simply saying if it's part of your plan or you like Goldman Sachs. I have played it with options and I kind of want to do it again. I was looking the other day for some bull put spread money way down here. There's still no money for July. Still no money. By the way, I was talking about this in the day trading room. Ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're an options trader, earnings season is right around the corner. A month away. The number one place you want to be during earnings season is right here in this room. Benjamin says, I have some Goldman Sachs calls. Almost sold today for tiny profit. Might just add another contract next week if we print an inside day. I hear you. Ram says, I need to learn about option trading in a month. And yeah, you do. John says, what you consider money for a credit spread minimum of what amount? It's not the amount, it's the return. So I don't really look at them unless they're above 10%. And Goldman Sachs, if I do a 210, 205 bull put spread, I could get maybe, like at best, 50 cents, which is right at 10%. So it's right on the verge of me not even like, and I'd have to get filled. The thing is, I'd have to get filled with a market maker to get even 50 cents. At market, I'm going to get like 30 cents. So yeah, really 12% to about 18% is my go-to range. 20%, I'll go with it. If it's above 20%, something's going weird. You know, VIX hasn't been high enough usually to get that type of premium. Anyway, that's Goldman Sachs. That's my thoughts. John says the spread risk, you mean 10%. Spread risk. No, I mean like I guess it depends on your. So yes. So if you have a $5 spread and I'm getting 50 cents, I want 10% return on my risk. That is correct. So minimum is 10% return on the risk of what I have open. Cool. We'll be keeping an eye on Goldman Sachs. I like where it's at. Here's Citigroup. And Citigroup, a lot of you are keeping an eye on as well. And I mean, it's slowly doing something. It did have a double bottom. It wasn't quite as bearish as some people were thinking. We got so close to this 2018 target right at the beginning of the year, but it just didn't quite get there. However, this is a pretty healthy, pretty comfortable pullback. It really depends on the wave count that you got. But I got like a 1, 2. I really think this is a 3, honestly. And then this is some kind of 4. Because inside that wave 3, I can count a 1, 2, 3 wave. I could also count a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And inside the 5, you got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I mean, the wave makes sense. So Citigroup, I know that there's some people out there that might want to consider some put sales. Let me go see where earnings are on Citigroup. Because again, earnings is around the corner. We can have some fun with these options. We're going to have a good time. How come that's not coming up for Citigroup, Thinkorswim? Way to fail me. Second place to go, Earnings Whisperer. Dead Kim. Earnings Whisperer, Dead Kim. It's July 13th. It just came up on Thinkorswim. Wow, that took forever. So no put sale, I don't think, unless you really are hungry for some shares. Unless you're thirsty, you could do it July 13th. I mean, that is the day of earnings. $60 put sale. Oh, my goodness. Wow, there's no money down there. Never mind. Other than that, we are trying to double bottom on Citigroup. I really do like this retest that came in today. I'm still thinking that we continue higher. Ooh, out there in the markets. JP Morgan. Morgan. So JP Morgan's down 1.6% today. This is the bounce. I love the fact that it closed below the 200. Tons of people are going to short it here. John says JP Morgan hit my target at 106 and I close it. Nicely done, John. The weekly chart. So there's tons of support here on JP Morgan. The big question is, where will it go? I personally think JP Morgan breaks down into the 50 on the weekly. This is when everyone shorts, and then that's probably where it bounces. You got to try it off of the 104.11. If you want to be in, you might no means have to, but here's the daily charts, and it's just a little farther to go. So today is a bearish engulfing candle. It did close below the 200. It does look a little on the weaker side. Mr. Squiggles was right for about 2 days. And I think it goes down to 104 and then bounces off the 50 EMA on the weekly. Jay says, I bought more today. Talk about uncomfortable. It is. And this is definitely a distribution phase. I had someone ask me recently via text message, why are financials so weak? And my reply was, because it's 2018. And their answer was, what the heck does that mean? And I said, did you look at 2016 and 2017? That's why they're weak. I mean, so we're in a distribution phase. It's going to take time for them to rest. It's going to take a little bit, but I mean, they will most likely continue higher. But everyone's already priced in the interest rates. They've already had 2 great years. And now they're just resting. So tons of people have banks long-term. I don't personally own any banks either. That's another sector that I don't really trade. Not for any particular reason. I'm just not a big bank guy. Hashtag Bitcoin. So JP Morgan, we'll see what it does at some level. Next, Kansas City University. Just kidding. KSU, Kansas City Southern. And it is sideways as can be. Wow. Super sideways. I don't have any position in Kansas City, but if I did, it would be something non-directional. Bull put spread, bear call spread, be an iron condor, put sales, covered calls if I had shares, getting the dividends, putting out some orders just in case you get a flash crash into some of this support, some of this resistance. That's all I got. Brent, I am packed for today, but I'll put them on the list for tomorrow. Just give me about 26 minutes and I'll put those on the list. Berkshire Hathaway's, BRKB. So Berkshire did break the 200. So this is what's interesting about Berkshire, a little bit of a leader, kind of a market leader, still going lower. There are a lot of bears out there. I'm okay with that. Here's the support. We are making lower highs. I mean, there is some volume coming in here. So what is super exciting, folks, again, I urge you, even if it's just a few weeks, at least trade with me so that we can help each other navigate in case something crazy happens. One candle can change everything. And this is a very nice morning star reversal pattern on Berkshire. We could easily bounce and continue higher. But if Berkshire does break that price, this is a market leader, and we could get a little bit of a flash sell-off. Wouldn't be huge, I don't think, but it would be exciting for some people who know what to do with day trading and option selling at some point, or even option buying. Obviously, long-term, the trend is bullish, and I think it's almost unquestionable that this is a wave 4 on most things. What's also kind of cool is you got boom, 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 boom. 5 waves. So this could be an A, B, C wave down. So just my thoughts on Berkshire. Really, really pivotal spot where we're at. I'm going to put on the list for Tech Giant Tuesday because I want to make a lot of money if that goes down. And I also want to make some money if it goes up. It's at a great point right now. Nice level. John says, own Canadian banks for dividend payout, part of my core portfolio. Regulated here in Canada, very strong balance sheet. Agree 100%. If you're going to trade financials, it's probably Canadian banks. Let's go look at Southern Company. Woo-wee. Hey, man, come on down here. My truck's broke. My radiator's leaking fluid everywhere. I got these tires on my truck. They're going flat. I think I picked up a nail. Got a sunburn. Whee! Southern Company. Doesn't get more boring than this. Look at that trend. Yawnville. Slow, steady growth. Dividend payer at the 100 on a monthly chart. Here's the daily chart, and you got yourself a double bottom with volume. Look at the people who bought right there. I'm not one of them, but someone did. Good job, team. There's your double bottom. There's your neckline right here. Buy the dip, long-term, buy low, sell high, accumulate type of stock in my opinion. Thermo Fisher, ticker symbol TMO, sideways. Nice new white soldier candle with volume. A little bit more bullish to neutral. If I was playing Thermo Fisher, bull put spread or put sale down here, and just let it keep playing out sideways. I don't see anything short term that looks that great. PEG, this is Performance Energy. Public Service Enterprise Group. Looks like it's at an all-time high. I believe it is. Oh, wow. Look at that. Don't know what this company is. Don't have any positions in it. Never heard of it before. But here's the resistance. I'll put it to you this way. I wouldn't buy right there with your money. Let that pull back a little bit. Buy that dip. Very obvious spot not to be buying right here, one would think. Very, very obvious spot to be buying right here, one would think. I mean, look at this. Look at this path. Look at this. Look at that resistance. Boom, 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 boom. Buy me, please. Take my money, please. Buy me. As much money as you want to make right there. So simple, man. Dividends too. I love it. So I wouldn't be buying here. Buy on a dip on PEG. It's a nice bullish trend. ESS. I forget who was looking at this one. I can't remember if this is a stock. Essex Property Trust. That's right. This is the weekly chart. Slow bullish trend. Dividend paying REIT. Old resistance, new supports about 234. Bullish to neutral. Here's the daily chart. This is Granny's trade. All right, Granny. Granny Hale. High wave doji candle is today. Some very interesting volume. The only way this chart gets remotely interesting from here is a close either above or below this candle today. However, long term, it still looks healthy, looks comfy. You're going to go sideways for a while, most likely. And if you have shares more than 100, you could consider a 250 covered call. That's what I would do personally. Let me see if this has options. It does. Let me just see when earnings are. Earnings. Man, Thinkorswim is slow today. ESS. August 1st. So you should get good premium for a 250 August covered call. It's not bad. $1.20. $1.20 on ESS, Essex Property Trust. Looks comfy. If I was in it, I would keep holding it and probably do some covered calls at 250 for August. Get in to make $1 per share. Next on the list, we have CLPS. This is one my buddy John Thaxton played like Charlie Daniels plays the fiddle. We also looked at it in depth yesterday and want to try to find where we would buy this trade. Look at that cute candle. That is so pretty. That could break in any direction, honestly. I don't think you're going to be able to short it. Yeah. Let's keep a real, I just need like an hour or something on Monday. And then if everything looks good, I might make that official at some point on Monday. But the only people that will find out are the people who are still here. CLPS, I'm going to type in Monday morning too, so I can just kind of get an idea what it does. Again, nice little retest gap, nice little pennant. Cheryl's going to be here. I know you will because you are a rock star. CLPS, I like this little candle. We'll see what she can do. John Thaxton, congrats for making some gainages on that one. I've already looked at camping worldwide. I had some traders ask for Neptune, NEPT. Snag some more water. Oh, yes, Neptune Technologies. Neptune. Neptune. Is this a flash in the pan or will it last? Well, if you're going to play it, the good news is you can mitigate risk on just about anything. It doesn't matter if it's a stock like this or not. It does have good volume, so it's not really a penny stock. I mean, really, it did pull back today. It didn't quite get to this main resistance. It did a little bit depending on where you drew it. So you either got in probably a little bit today. If it breaks lower, you're probably going to be buying it at about 330, 335. Like I mentioned, you can mitigate risk pretty easily on that one. I'd buy the dip. I'd buy the pullback. I really do like this gap, though, on the 19th. That's very pretty. So if it pulls back and rests, to me, this one looks higher. I'm going to go put this one over here. Granny says, do you have a wave video? Absolutely. Type in Elliott Wave, real life trading into any search browser, and you should get that video. All right, there's NEPT. Here's OLED. And OLED, this was a request, and this one just can't catch a break. What a big pullback. Cheryl says, that one we can trade long-term, NEPT. I mean, you can trade anything long-term. I don't know anything about Neptune Technologies, though, Cheryl. I would say no for me. I have no idea what they do. I'd have to do a little bit of research to find out how they make money, what services they're in, what they provide. And then if everything checks out, sure. It's not super expensive. OLED, what a massive pullback. Jeepers creepers. I think this one's coming to the 200 on a weekly, which is at 74. But it just made a new low. It just broke this support, but it did not close below this support. How interesting would that be? I think there are some people trapped on this one. Also, Granny Ashley just posted that video for you in the chat pane. Ram said they lost some contract with Samsung or Apple. I don't remember. I think it was Apple. I'm interested to see what this candle does. It looks like to me some people are trapped on this one. Potentially. So let me put this one on the list also for Monday, just in case things get a little fun and it gaps up and it has the opportunity to really run. Let's go look at HubSpot. What was interesting about HubSpot, ladies and gents, is that yesterday was a tweezer top and it did close below that support. It did close below it. Goody gumdrops. So now I get to take an option trade, in which I will probably lose on, most likely. But let's see, 135 is the one that we'll do. And I will buy it on a pullback. Go to the daily chart. Man, these are spready. 50-cent spread. Wow, I'm going to lose 10% of the option just in the spread. Whoo! That's the thing about options, man. They're just so spready. It's like I'm going to have to short the stock. It doesn't pay dividends, so it should be okay. Why am I shorting the stock up here? It is a counter trend trade. I agree entirely. It will be a very fast trade, but it's a tweezer top at an all-time high. So HubSpot, that way we'll have at least one bearish trade just in case. Looks like this might be the last official trade that we do. It's a pretty wide stop, but it could go down. HUBS tweezer top at an all-time high. I like this company long term. This is a counter trend trade, totally based off of candles, and it did what I wanted it to do. So here we go. Internally, my entire body is saying, don't take this trade. You're going to lose. Probably will. But yesterday, I said, if it closes below this level, I have to take the trade. So I will. Even though I don't want to, I got to follow my plan. Even though I don't want to. I never really want to follow my plan. But I'm very afraid of not following my plan because that would be terrible. Ash says, I have a bull put spread for September. Worried at 95? No. Nope. Okay, so we got 12 more minutes. Should have already had that open. And that also might not trigger, but it also might. And if it does trigger, it might not work, and everything in between. I want to buy puts, but the spread is there. It's rough. It's a rough spread for July. Come on, dude. Why are you going so slow? You're just an Excel sheet with years of data. Tick, 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 man. Just should have already had it loaded though. Maryland says, "What about a bear call spread?" Yeah, you can do a bear call spread. It is very spready. I would probably do a 150, 155, and you could get about 15 cents on that if the market maker is nice to you and fills you. So yeah, if you do a bear call spread, Maryland, just let me know, and I'll be happy to track it for you next week. But it does look like we're going to have a bearish setup out there. I don't mind having at least one bearish trade. Wow, Excel taking 2 minutes to load. That is so slow. But it's not his fault. It's my fault. Should have already had it up. 137.05. 137.05 with a stop at 143.50. Mauricio says, hi guys, sorry I'm late. No worries, man. All right, so we got a bearish one, and I've lost on pretty much every bearish trade I've tried for the last 2 or 3 months. Believe it or not, I just swing trade, not day trade. All right, so there's HubSpot. It did exactly what I wanted to do. We'll see if we make money on that. Next on the list is Tractor Supply. So now we got 10 minutes. Marilyn says, what expiration? I was looking at July expiration for you. P says, what is a P and G&G? Perfect, gap and go. Tractor Supply Company. Looks like a bullish trend. It's already made most of its movement though. Looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this wave 5, you might be doing a 1, 2, and maybe get to 3, obviously. If you're doing that and it continues higher, great, but I would probably look to buy the dip because it's already made a gargantuan move. Beautiful double bottom. This was the time to buy down here back in April after forming that double bottom right there. Trade up higher and just a gorgeous rotation. Another good pullback into the 20. So this was the time to buy right here on June. So if you're in bullish, I think stay in. I don't really see anything crazy right now. Got 9 minutes left. The trading journal loading took 3 minutes of that time. Equifax still trading sideways. I can dig that. I could dig a breakout on Equifax. Let me put that on the list for Monday, and we'll see if we can set that up. Because again, a lot of this is going to depend on how much risk I have out on the table. Apple, AAPL was down a little bit today. I think she's going to come back down. That's why I wanted this to be an inside day candle. I do think Apple is about to go a little bit lower. Based on this pattern right here that it has followed to a T, in my opinion, I think we break the 50 and come down a little bit farther. So look to go bearish, very short term on Apple, very short term. When we get down to 177, 178, we'll do bull put spreads, we'll do put sales, we'll buy shares, we'll buy calls, we'll have a good time. It'll be a party. This covered call will expire worthless, and I have to say I'm really happy about myself because I sold it right there. Almost at the exact high, like a boss. So let Apple keep coming down a little bit more, and then we'll look to buy it. Applied Optoelectronics Share says, how do you think it'll go? As mentioned earlier, I think 177. And I think where it goes down to. Ash says, set a buy order at 175. Yep, looks good. Applied Optoelectronics, pull into the 20. It did retest this retest gap right here. Here's your exponential moving averages. We just looked at those. It pulled into the 20. A nice spot on Applied Optoelectronics. Frank says, how about a put sale at 175? Not yet, since I think it's going to go a little bit lower. I would wait. Get more premium that way. Unless you really, really want shares, and then sure. If you're real hungry for some shares, but 175, go for it, my man. July, make sure it's before earnings. Applied Optoelectronics. Looking good. I mean, I just like this retest right here off of the 20, right in that gap. So I missed my buy spot. This is where you would have wanted to buy right there, right in that gap. Ram says, can we look at a limit buy at 45? Well, a limit buy at 45 would fill you immediately because it's below 45. The best limit buy would have been 41. But yeah, if you're looking at a stop limit, like a breakout, I think you're right. Let's put that on the list for Monday. I think Applied Optoelectronics is trying to coil and pop out of here. Looks good. Let's just get another day or two, but it's approaching something that looks nice. Okay, next on the list is COTY. And COTY on the daily charts looks good. I forget who was trading this one. I mentioned in the other day, if it does roll over, pink is worst case scenario, buy it down there. And if it closes end of day above 1439 to be in bullish. I'm not in this trade at all. So I'm just assuming whoever did it request that is in. It also had some divergence, as I remember. Let me come over here and look at that on the RSI. We got 5 minutes. So RSI, nope, it did not have any divergence on the RSI. Okay. Well, I mean, I do like the move on COTY. it is a little bit of a cheaper stock. It did not roll over. It did close above resistance. And I think an easy first target, easy is the 50. Super easy. Short-term, hourly chart traders could play that one pretty nice. If anybody wants me to look at that one again next week, just let me know. Here is Pandora. And Pandora had already made most of its move for now, I feel like. Let's give Pandora a little bit of a rest. It did have a pullback today, granted, but this was the S curve right here. You got to be buying it right there. That pullback into the 20, that morning star reversal from 25th, 29th, and 30th. Let's give it a little bit longer. I'll put it on the list for Tech Giant Tuesday, and we'll come back to that one. Microsoft, I looked at Microsoft most of the day and did not take a bearish day trade on it. I don't see anything that is superbly fantastic on Microsoft other than on the hourly charts. You pulled into some support. So if you're buying down here on the hourly 200, I get it. The very interesting gap, and this is a very important candle. If it closes above it, it's going higher, and if it closes below it, it's going to come back to the 100 most likely. This is a very, very important candle on Microsoft for the bulls and the bears. Really key area right there. Perfect doji. Same open, same close. Perfection. Super rare. Share said, Ash says, I own shares, 100 buy puts. If it takes out the low of today, I would. All right, next on the list is IQ. And IQ obviously just got wrecked, traded down. It's following Mr. Squiggles perfectly. The 20 is within its sights. Few traders are doing some put sales on IQ because they do not mind owning some stock. I got the $20. Thomas got the 25. A lot of people are selling puts on IQ. If you want to own some shares, that is certainly something to consider. We will watch it, but bouncing off the 20 could happen on Monday or Tuesday. Trend is bullish, buy the dip. If it doesn't work off the 20, you can work it off the 50. If it doesn't work off the 50, regroup, wait for something, try it later. 2 minutes, 3 stocks. Caterpillar. Frank has a put sale pretty far below a support. Here's the long-term moving averages. Caterpillar is below the 200. The weekly, however, I think you got the 50 right here. What most likely is going to happen on Caterpillar is it's going to either break the 50, everyone shorts, and then it bounces, or it bounces immediately. But it is at the 50 on the weekly. It is at a support on the daily, a price that we've been before. And I still think the market's going to be bouncing a little bit next week. So we'll see. If it does, should be good. But Frank, I'll be keeping that put sale on my list for you, my friend. Next on the list is BBT. And BBT was a finance stock. It is Finance Friday. Here's the weekly chart. And like most financials, you're just pulling back into a support level. So if you're looking at playing BBT, the 50 EMA is at $50.68. I think you can get it for $1 cheaper than it is right now. Last but not least, we are still in a swing trade on QD. This one is still up. It is up very small. It's the only one that is up right now for me. And I'm going to do my best to hold this one. The 50 obviously acted as a little bit of a resistance, but I like the volume. So I'm going to close my eyes and try to forget about QD for a while. We'll come back to it in July and see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to sign up over the weekend. You'll get your links. I really do hope everyone joins Real Life Trading together. We can review, do more, enrich more lives, and just be better people and progress together. Monday, I already have a nice long list. Here's what we're looking at. And I hope to see many, many of you there. If you have any questions, if you need any help, if you need something, let me know. Thank you for those who have already joined. And for those who haven't, you got 2 more days. Email me if you need anything. But here's the stocks that we're going to be looking at on Monday. Again, for Merchant Monday. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you all there. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. You rock. Mila says, will you be sent new links? Yes, you will. And until next time, love life, live life, and trade it.